Alright, guys. We've got Team Liquid's CLEM in the bottom left side of the map and Rogue in the top right. It's Rex April Madness. That's right, you didn't hear it wrong. April Madness. Somehow, this series has been sitting in a folder, and with all my computer issues and everything that's been going on recently, it's been sitting there. I'd forgotten about it, and it got somehow to the bottom of my list of series to cast with a bunch of things that I'd said, not relevant, not that interesting, more important things to cast. It somehow ended up with those, despite it being Rogue versus CLEM in a best of 5. And I believe the Rex monthly tournaments are about 1,000 USD prize pool, which is not bad for an online tournament. Obviously, it's not like a big event, but it's not the same as just a regular weekly tournament. Good bit of prize money in there, really good players, and I had been having this one highly recommended at the time to check out. So we are going back just a little bit here into Ultra Love. I believe this is the previous map pool, which means, yeah, I think it is anyway. Or maybe it's a crossover between the two. But SCV is going to go for a scout. CLEM not wanting to take any chances. Very safe play for him. You could argue also very good because it can allow him to block the third base of Zerg, maybe block this one. If you force the Zerg into this third on the left, even though that's easy to defend, where do they take the fourth base? Zerg likes to take this third base because then they can get the creep spread out front and try to defend out here, which is a much better area to defend. You don't want to let Terran take those choke points. It's also a great map for 8 racks, but CLEM not really one to do 8 racks, especially not a few months ago. He started mixing them in a bit more since it is such a dominant strategy though. Big thank you to those watching live, Tonky2, Gross Call for the subs. If you guys are watching this on YouTube after the fact, please don't forget to like, subscribe. I like to ask for that 1 in every 400 videos I post. I don't know if it matters at all. Honestly, commenting and just watching old videos, I think is the only thing that really matters on YouTube. If you watch videos, they get recommended to you more, to more people more. I mean, that's great. I guess you guys could support the Patreon. Click on the description below if you want to go above and beyond. Throw a few dollars my way. Get some cool rewards, some cool merch. I think we got like a special mug. I think there's a special t-shirt that are exclusive to the Patreon. So far, pretty good defense for Rogue, guys. He got the quick third up, so it can't get denied. He gets ling speed now after the third base, so a nice economic ling speed opening. And CLEM just going to be rejected from that main base harassment. Third command center goes down for CLEM. Standard as they come. Very straight up play for him. He's going to swap around. He goes Starport, second gas. Happy to delay his Hellion production because he feels like, it's not a priority, right? Let's get the Banshee out or the Liberator, whatever he ends up cheering on. And there we go. 3 minutes and 14 seconds is when he has both Hellions queued up. Reaper, of course, just going to hang out. The creep is not especially fast by any means. And it is just a third queen. Lots more drones on the way. So Rogue is prioritizing economy over early queen production. Does mean maybe there'll be an opening to dive with Hellions at some point, even though they are initially delayed. Reaper jumps up. Lings reject it. Does get out. Okay, so back on gas, 2 mineral lines full. Now it's non-stop queen production for Rogue. So yeah, Rogue doing the very economic focused version of this opening, which is a good way to do it. I do like this opening, and now from this point on, it's non-stop queen production until he has at least 8, maybe 9 queens. And you would expect either after this queen or the next one, a lair to start up no later than 4 minutes 40 in that main base. Overlord is going to sacrifice in. These drones pulled back. Very good reaction by Rogue. And he sees the cloak. Looks very much like a Banshee build, so if you ever needed a reason to make an early lair, that would be it. Realizing you want an Overseer to deal with that Banshee threat. Alright, Creep Tumor going to try and spread, but Rogue actually kind of cancels his own Creep Tumor there. Not sure if he realized he stopped that Creep Tumor from building. He does have a good Queen split on the left side, and a new Creep Tumor on the right as well. He is indeed building a 7th Queen, but only 7 so far. Lair starts up, as I said, nice and early in that main base. Hellion Banshee roaming. Rogue's going to take a second gas. Usually second gas Baneling Nest is pretty standard at this stage. You could go Roachhorn. It's not unheard of. And he is going to build an 8th queen as well. There's no Spore. Oh, he skipped on the Spore, guys. If the Banshee takes a bit of damage, though, then the queen in the main might be able to defend it on its own. He does start the Spore Crawlers now. Very late Spore Crawlers. Rogue trying to play so greedy. These Hellions going to cause problems. Because the queens come in from both sides, it's kind of scary to commit into that. Remember, from CLEM's point of view, he doesn't know there's only 11 Zerglings. There's 20 plus Zerglings out, and he dives, he might lose all of his Hellions, give up map control, and give the Zerg just free pass to spread creep everywhere. And there is indeed going to be 20 Zerglings now, so that weak window is starting to close. Actually trying to pick off single drone. Does damage some Zerglings. Doesn't really take him out. Behind this, double engineering bays up. Did miss his +1 armor upgrade. He's got 2 more barracks that are going to be swapping onto these 2 reactors in a moment. He mislanded his factory there. A bit of a misclick. This Banshee almost gets taken out by the Overseer as well. It has to fall back. There's another one that can try to poke in. But Clem, forgetting his armor upgrade, and his barracks only now landing. Banshee gets a drone, but no big damage here. And Rogue's done an excellent job with this early game. I feel like this is interesting because so often I see Clem just find Zergs caught with their pants down. But in this case, single drone here or there, no big losses. If Rogue can get up to 70 workers soon, that could be really nice. And he's actually getting ready to maybe do a Ling run by. Hellions are coming back though, so unfortunate timing for Rogue as he gets in there just as the Hellions arrive home and has to quickly evacuate. Hellions, of course, with their flamethrowers making quick work of the Zerglings. A few Lings go down and the rest scramble away. 1-1 upgrades on the way. Coming in, starting about, what, 610 maybe? +1 attack and armor are both going. And with 5 barracks now building their reactors, a second factory goes down at the front, along with a 5th gas. And usually the next step is that armory, which should go down any second now. Otherwise, Clem's upgrades will be quite delayed. He's a bit shy on gas, though. You can see he's only got 20 gas right now. And there we go. Armory is going to start in that main base. Pretty well timed. Looks like a very standard play for Clem. No sign of an 8 racks. And Hydras. So Rogue's going to play 5 gas Hydraling Bane. It's a solid style, but one which you've got to be very brave to play Clem in a straight-up game. Very brave. Hatchery on the right side gets killed, not cancelled. Overlord as well. So there's 400 minerals. Well, it is 400 minerals of value, even more than that, because you've got to count the drone as well. Oh, he clicks in. Those Marines clicking with their dingle-dangle. They do manage to take out 1 queen, as well as draining a lot of transfuses, and not many of them actually died. So even though I love that Rogue was so quick on the transfuse, one always has to wonder if it's worth it. Banelings roll in, but only enough to blow up the depots, and that's it. More Banelings roll in on the right side. Only get a Marine and damaging those depots. These trades aren't great for Rogue. You can see on the units lost, oh my gosh, 5-1. I mean, 5-1, and there's only a 7 worker advantage. Don't get me wrong, Rogue has a pretty good setup, but this could start to open up now. Banshee's doing big damage on the hatchery, but Queens are there. Oh, can he get one? Almost gets a Banshee, but not quite. They escape. Marines are in the main base, though, rotating. The Queen's not going to go down, though. Saving those 2 Queens really important, as it makes it very hard for him to redrop there in the future. Spore Crawler placement here is excellent. If you could get another Spore Crawler down here, that would really limit that sort of drop play. Hive has now started for Rogue. Clem, he's got 2-2. He's got Drilling Claws on the way. 3 Widow Mines building at a time. But his Marine production's a little stunted. Right now, only 4 Marines. Now 7. Could be building 10 Marines at a time with 5 barracks. And look at this, Rogue. Oh, he's tracking him. One of the boys. He's like, no, we're gonna go kill those dirty Zerg, right, boys? They're like, wow, man, Gary, you're acting kind of weird. Why are you speaking like that? And he's like, no, sugar water. Give me sugar water. And you're like, okay, you're clearly the bloody roach costume farmer man from the original Men in Black film. But no, Clem didn't realize. Well, he will realize in a second. They didn't give him any sugar water and he starved. Ling Bane going to roll into that base. The Marines are going to come forward. There's going to be a nice tank wedge behind the rocks. This game's about to escalate very quickly. Banelings going to go. Ooh, pretty decent hits on those Marines. Widow Mines and Banshees trying to defend. Already 10 SCVs do go down. Meanwhile, double drop goes in the main, but the Spores take it out. Only 3 or 4 Marines survive. Banelings connecting with the Hellbats pretty nicely, but they are all gone now. Is there enough Hydra Ling to clean the rest up? These Hydras have groove spines, but no other upgrades other than +1 carapace. The tank goes down, and Rogue barely defends. Meanwhile, the Lings went back in on this base. He does take out a total of 14 SCVs. The drop in the main gets cleaned up. 1 Spore Crawler goes down. The other one barely survives. But there is, however, a 4th base up for Clem. And one has to think this can't be an amazing situation for Rogue just yet. That being said, Rogue's got a Lurker Den finish. He's got Spine range on the way. And he's up 10 workers. If he can defend his 4 bases, maybe even get this 5th up on the right and get Lurkers, we know that in this sort of high-paced game, Clem is very weak to Lurkers. If you can get single Lurkers in individual bases, he lost so many games back on the Babylon map pool many years ago to just running out of scans. And he does get more damage. I mean, don't get me wrong, this sort of double drop is really nice. Sniping things down. Comes in on the left, gets a bunch of Queens here as well. Like, Clem will trade very nicely, but overall, the trading nowhere near as good as it was at the start of this game. The counterattacks were nice. The cleanup on the left side was nice. But if he can survive for a bit longer, Clem, and get a few more command centers for scans up, he'll be good. But right now, Rogue is making an immense amount of lurkers, and the answer to that consists of nothing. There's 2 Banshees. That's not... He doesn't have any siege tanks. It's all Marine Mine. Basically, Clem cannot let Rogue push. If he lets Rogue push across this map right now, he does not have an answer. And Rogue, playing an excellent series of StarCraft right now. Marines are about to try to pull back. Oh, the links around. Very nice links around. And Clem, what was he doing here with only 1 medevac? Clem pushes forward. Just, I get he's got to keep him at home, but why was there only 1 medevac on that side? A huge misstep. You could tell he grabbed that part of his army and just thought, yeah, this is good. We can pick up and leave if we get in trouble. But he couldn't. And then he walks into lurkers on the right side. Oh my gosh, 2 big mistakes in a row. And Rogue, that is all of the reason he needs. He already wanted to push, and now he's definitely going to go after crushing an army on the top left and an army on the bottom right at the same time. Massive, massive momentum shifter. Rogue is going to shove. The Lurker Hydraling Bane gets on that 3rd base. Clem over there taking massive damage. I can't believe he's not building any siege tanks right now in this game. Any siege tanks would slow this style down, but we know, we've talked to Clem about it in the past. He says if you go siege tanks, you give up tempo, and that is basically the antithesis of his style. He likes tempo, he likes multitasking, and he feels like if he plays this style well enough, it's better, and he doesn't need tanks. The downside is when he doesn't play like Clem, when he makes that odd micro mistake and loses 2 armies on the map, everything will turn on a dime. The game will shift so rapidly, and that is exactly what's happened here. Is if you at one point get caught out not watching your army, 2 sides of the map, it's a very fragile, high damage multitasking style, it's going to turn on you. And Rogue, he did everything he needed to set that up. Clem, the smallest of mistakes in the top left, not having enough medevacs, and then in the bottom right, moving into some lurkers, not looking for a second or 2, the sort of mistakes that a normal Terran player makes, and Clem just gets shut down in game 1. All right, guys. Clem in the top right side of the map there. A moment of frailty with his incredibly fragile style. And things do get awry. Now, one could argue, after the very clean early game, it already went a little awry when that counterattack hit his 3rd, and the game got a little chaotic. If he traded a bit better with that tank Hellbat Marine push on the top left, which I actually thought he was going to have just enough firepower to gun down all the Banes, he didn't quite. And obviously that could have got really bad for Rogue, but Rogue, just an excellent early game. And like I said, good queen. I think he focused on his drones pretty hard early. He didn't build 9 queens, right? And I think that makes a lot of sense to not build 9 queens. Against Clem, you got to cut a corner somewhere. It's a small corner, but he also delayed his 4th, 5th, and 6th queens by about 10-15 seconds. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I tell you, squeezing those drones in a little earlier just kind of pushed his economy a bit harder. He was a little light on Zerglings. A more aggressive Clem, I think, could have found a weakness. I do think if I was like coaching Clem and we were on a live tournament right now, I'd be like, oh, okay, dive. I'd be like, dude, I want you to be diving Hellions and go Hellion Lib this game. So it's a less committed build, but like I want you with 2 Hellion Reaper squads. Like I want you to dive 4 Hellions and a Reaper in the natural, another 4 Hellions in the 3rd, and a Liberator in the main. You do all of that at once. I think the way Rogue played that last game is very, like, he would need to really respond near perfectly to deal with that, especially with how low his Zergling count was for a while. Of course, we don't really know the patterns established, but I would definitely want to see Clem apply that pressure in a heavy way. This is, of course, Amygdala, though, a map which is no longer in the map pool, and it's a map where you've got these kind of northern circular path, southern circular path. Obviously, there are rocks blocking off areas, but there's also Zerg rocks that will decay by about 8 minutes into the game at the very top and bottom. So this map's peculiar. It's very interesting. Now, Clem is not going to block the 3rd, which, if you're going to SCV scout, I feel like you should always try to block that 3rd base, because this one up here is much worse. But Rogue's going to be able to get out. He's gone Ling Speed first this time around. So he's not delayed Ling Speed for that 3rd base. Clem, of course, looks like staying single gas, so he's just going to play 3 command center, as we would expect. Yeah, this is a very frustrating map for Zerg to push on. This map's all about counterattacking. It's about splitting your army as Zerg, and if the Terran pushes mostly on one side, defending with about 20% on that side, and just slowly giving up ground, while on the other side you just thrust with a crazy counterattack. Because your opponent does get split into essentially 2 very far fronts. So if you can use your mobility to surprise him with heavier numbers on one side while using that, you know, defender's advantage on the other side of the map to slow down his advance with your production rallying to the defensive side. You can kind of get this game to go in a good direction. It's a similar theory to what you'll see on your Eldorados or more recently Torches, where if your opponent tries to expand behind the rocks, you counterattack and bust their wall when their army is pushing down the opposite side of the map. So it's a tricky play, it's not a reliable play, but that's the mindset a Zerg should have on this map is don't just try to fight front on. Unless you get some really good momentum early, you feel you can swarm over him. You don't want to be chasing down a lane into siege tanks and widow mines spread in layers around these cliffs and up these ramps. Stim's on the way, so it's a 2-1-1 build for CLEM. Very solid build order. Nigh unkillable, some have said. 2 bases saturated, 3rd base getting saturated really early. Going up to 6 queens now, only after building drones for the 3rd. Dude, the greed knows no bounds. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is why you need to be diving some Hellions in here. Like, you actually need to put some pressure on Rogue, because Rogue is doing such a good job of towing that line of greed. This is like Raynor-esque levels of exceptional early game for Rogue. Really on point. Does hit a slight supply block here, but the Overlord's popping now anyway, so it's barely anything. I think he's going to scout out. Only a couple of Hellions in the north. Very little map control, of course, with just 2 Hellions on the map on the north, 1 Reaper in the south. So the greed of Rogue is correct against this build. But he doesn't know it's 2-1-1 just yet. He hasn't scouted this game, but he hasn't seen extra Hellions come out. So he's just like, yeah, whatever. He's going to build some Zerglings now. I would argue probably doesn't need them just yet, but since he's unsure what's happening in this game, not a bad idea to be safe. We know that the medevacs aren't done yet. It's going to be another minute until they arrive. Well, maybe not a minute. About 5:45 is probably when they'll get to the Zerg side of the map. Problem with this map is drops can go through this middle area where you can't really see them coming unless you leave Overlords, which will be easy pickoffs. So, or if you get creep out, which takes a little while. So double drop's going to go. He will stop, of course, for this Overlord. And that's going to warn Rogue of what's happening. Rogue does hit a bit of a supply. This is a more meaningful supply block. He's building 5 Overlords to try to get out of it. He does have 8 queens. I'd like to see every queen. Yeah, he's pulling all of his queens together now. Early game, you want to split those queens against Hellion Reaper, Banshee, but once they come with this stiffer frontal push, you want to get on top of it. And if Rogue can get on top of him the moment he unloads his queens are nearby, yeah, worth going for it. Because the medevacs are so exposed. Really good cleanup there. Dude, his link count's only 19. It's not a lot of Zerglings. It's really good that he stops this unloading. Meanwhile, getting a 4th base here. So early, it's finished before 6 minutes. Double Evo Chamber, Carapace starts immediately, and he's already got a Hydra Den. Wow, Rogue playing some really good greedy openings here. Clem finding 0 purchase with his harassment. Yeah, like I said, I think Clem needs to make these games messier. Because he's so much better mechanically than Rogue, it's not even close. Rogue's a very good StarCraft player, but we've seen in the past, if the game gets really scrappy, he struggles even with guys like Dark, who I don't think can keep up with Clem either. So I think in general for Clem, the more interactive, the messier he makes this, the better. But right now, every little thrust he does is just getting shut down. And he's playing very standard, right? Oh, he's going 8 racks. Okay, now he's going to put pressure on Rogue. This is going to force Rogue to have an answer. He's going to go for an 8 racks. This is one of the worst maps for the 8 racks, I would say, and it takes a while to get across here. But because it's a one-directional angle and you could even break these rocks and start sieging tanks there, it is very hard to stop. I do think the answer will be counterattacks. The question is right now, Rogue, he's not scouting. No Overseer attempt at all. It's Clem. Clem always does. He doesn't play 8 racks. He plays 2nd Factory, 4th Command Center, and goes for 2-2 upgrades. He doesn't just go 8 racks Marine Tank. It's Clem. Unfortunately, Clem actually doing an 8 racks here would be a big surprise and could catch him massively off guard. Links. Hey! Oh! Hides in the fog. Zergling does finally stop getting confused. No object permanence on that Zergling. Hydraling Bane Queen trying to defend here, and they should be able to. Should be able to respread his creep. This is good creep clearing for the future push. Push. I can speak English. I swear I can, guys. I promise. There's a tank on the high ground, which is good to defend. Is he going to leave it there? Looks like he is. I feel like that's pretty big commitment leaving a tank at home, though. It's going to go 4 siege tanks will be out in a moment. Mass Marine, no add-ons. 2-2 started. Hive is not ready. It's 16 Banes, 8 Hydras, 60 Zerglings, no counterattack. Rogue is just ready to fight this front on, which, man, he really has no idea what's happening. Maybe if Clem unsieges, like doesn't siege close enough, maybe? Oh, he's going to go real deep though. Clem's going to go real deep and get the siege up. Third tank is arriving. Fourth tank should be out. It's on the high ground at home, which means any counterattacks aren't going to do much. But Rogue looks like he wants to fight front on. He gives up his fourth and just rallies his drones to the left side of the map. Not a bad idea. Good call for Rogue. If he fought this would have been a disaster. But now, Hive's almost finished. He can make Vipers. And Clem just turns around. I don't know about... I think Clem should keep pushing. I think he has to keep pushing. His fourth command center has just now started. Yeah, Rogue's like, whatever, dude. I'll just go take the other side. I don't even give a crap. Stupid Terran player. Oh, wow. But if the Vipers get out before the next push, this could be massive for Rogue. But he's down in supply. The Marine count. 90 Marines! Oh, my lord. 90 Marines are on this map, guys. 5 siege tanks. He's brought them all to the top side. And Clem's just going to slowly start trying to deny these bases. Rogue, how the hell does he deal with this? Tanks going very deep. Sieging up now. This drop in the south can keep denying bases here as well. Clem, a little bit deep on creep there. He's got to be careful. No medevacs forward with these guys is crazy. If you're going to do that, you're meant to have medevacs so you can pick them up and get them away from Ling Bane and Ling Bane Hydra. Clem, trying to shove. Does do a little stimmy there. Stims in the south as well. That one needs to get out of there, and indeed it will. Withdraw to the watchtower. Lurkers are now sieged up with the Vipers here. Yes, he keeps Rogue on 4 bases, but now with a new 5th rebuilding in the south, can he actually get rid of a 4th though? Because Rogue is just avoiding fighting. Oh, Blinding Cloud goes down. The Marines corner themselves! Clem corners his Marines! The Banelings! Oh my gosh, the Banelings are there. The Abducts are doing pretty well. Another one of the tank goes down. Clem corners his Marines. That was a crazy choice. He should only have done that if he had the medevacs there to evacuate them. But Clem lost his double drop in the bottom right as well. The Marine tank comes out to attack the rocks. Oh no! He was attacking the rocks! He wasn't even fighting! He's trying to take the 4th base on the gold. He gets jumped on. Clem, with a couple blunders, somehow manages to salvage that without losing the tank. But this gives room for Rogue to survive. Rogue on just 76 workers. He's making lurkers. Unfortunately for him, he's dealing with now ghosts and tanks. Now, there's only 1 ghost building, but there's 8 siege tanks out. So it's going to be about the Vipers with Abducts and Blinding Clouds to deal with those tanks. Marine's still poking around the left side. Can't really get much there. Wants to get rid of the creep tumor, but of course the Lurker Viper going to be a real problem. Parasitic Bomb Rogue was looking for. Can't quite get it off. He's going to think about getting his gold, but he doesn't quite finish the rocks. There we go. He's going to go back for it now. Adrenal Glands is on the way. +2 melee, +3 carapace, and of course the Lurker speed upgrade. 5th command center on the way for Clem, as Clem's going to try to drag this game out. It's a really weird position because Clem hasn't really geared up for a long game. He does need to scan further north. It's very obvious there's a tumor here, but he's missed that one, which means it could either spread backwards or continue spreading north. And you can see Rogue doing a good job of putting new tumors down. 4 ghost building at a time, 3/3 upgrades. Double Nidus Worm building for Rogue. Ling Bane Hydra Viper coming south. Clem, careful of the Abducts. Oh, nice Abduct. Gets himself a full medevac. Well done, Rogue. And Clem, dude, it feels like he's not trading that well at all. He's only 1,000 resources ahead. He's just got his 4th base mining now. Marines barely evade dying to those Lurkers, which are now going to chase him on that northern side. Hello. Siege tank is in a good spot, though, and it does push those Lurkers away. Not sure what else is behind that. Overlord speed's on the way. 9 Overseers are building, so it looks like Rogue is going to go to the late game. I've always criticized this late game style for giving up a lot of momentum, but in this sort of game, I think it makes perfect sense. Because it's not like he's... Like, there's a giant Terran army, there's plenty of tanks. So, you know, this is going to be a slow game no matter what. It makes sense in this scenario to go for it. He's going to build 11 extra Overlords and turn them all into Overseers as well. This is a massive dump of money, but it's going to put a very serious APM test on Clem. Clem has said before this, since he has died to this style before, he said, it's not that good. You just build libs to defend the Nidus Worms and you're fine. Duck goes down on the siege tank. We'll see if that holds true. Clem doesn't really have the most amazing setup from the early game because he committed hard to the Apex, but he's getting it now. Like, he's adding mass command centers. He's got so many tanks everywhere. A lot of these changelings are dying before they can transform because the tanks have really long range and they see the units from on the low ground and shoot them before they transform. High-sec auto tracking and building armor on the way. Very good upgrades for the late game. Mass orbital will be coming. And the question for Rogue is it just mass lurker or die trying? What's interesting about Rogue in this scenario is he'll make like 30 lurkers and just run forward and siege them in range of like 4 siege tanks and just kill them, right? And bust through. And it starts as a very bad trade and then it turns into a good trade, right? Because he'll one-shot all the tanks, kill all the planetaries. You need a lot of units to defend the levels of commitment that Rogue does in these scenarios. And look at this, changelings. They're walking in. You're going to click on all of those? You're going to click on every single one? Oh, and he abducts a bunch of tanks. And how many? Okay, so he gets rid of a few tanks. Looks like he lost one Viper. The Vikings trying to defend that. I think he needs Ghosts to defend this, does Clem, more than anything. EMP and Snipes and Scans will be the answer. Nidus Worms are coming up, of course. One in the north. Ghosts do snipe one of these lurkers. That gold base very vulnerable. 5th base is up for Clem in the bottom right anyway. And the Vikings trying to just vie for position. Right now, 11 lurkers are out. Remember, Rogue has played this 1,000 times, so he's very patient here. Clem is naturally what I would refer to as a twitchy boy. He wants to just click, 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 win, 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 win. You can see he's walling off his natural because he doesn't want to let them into the main. I do like the turrets on the edge, but he should have turrets up here as well. He doesn't just yet, which means right now, these units can fly in, especially if this goes south. Nidus Worm goes there. Another Nidus Worm down here. That one goes down. The one in the main will get dealt with by a bunch of Ghosts and a Reaper, which looks like it got accidentally built. Should be able to easy deal with that with those Ghosts. Look at that. Abducts a few Vikings, kills them with the Hydras, pulls back the Viper. And we've got to keep an eye on the efficiency. 3,000 in favor of Clem. And Rogue, by making 27 Overseers, has spent several thousand of extra resources that aren't combat units. We'll see if he can make it worth it. Triple drop in the south gets jumped on. One of those medevacs goes down. The other two do escape. I don't think he minds losing a few Marines here, Clem. 36 Marines is probably the right count at this maxed out stage. No Marauders in the mix, no concussive shells available. I always wonder about that. I always feel like Marauders are a just nice, useful unit to have in the mix. But is it better to just have more Ghosts? What do you guys think? I'm really curious about that. I'm as someone who's pretty bad at using Ghosts, I like to always have a few Marauders. I think concussive is just so nice, especially against the frontling Bane to kind of slow down the units. Chat says 11 more Overseers just got made. Oh, 38! 38 Overseers now, okay. That is several thousand minerals and gas. Plus 3 melee range. 3 more Evo chambers being made. Those are to suck energy with his Vipers so we can keep abducting. The Changeling's trying to walk in there. Clem with some siege tank clicky clickies. Does take them all down. South side, he's a little vulnerable. I gotta wonder where his libs are, guys. He talked about how libs is the answer to this, but he's just making mass tank Ghost. At least he's not making any more tanks, because that would be vulnerable to broods. Here we go. Massive attack coming in. Hard to see what's happening with all those Overseers blocking your screen. One of the big advantages to the mass Overseer is you literally can block your opponent's screen. If you guys are playing at non-pro level, you're also often going to run into people who are playing on laptops, and you actually can make it burn your opponent's legs just by making their computers struggle by putting so many Overseers and Changelings on the screen. Now, it looks like finally Anitis gets in the main with Lurkers. A tank siege is up, but where's the scan? That siege tank will go down pretty quickly, I think. Yep. Ghost's going to struggle to defend this. Clem, is he F2ing his whole army, it looks like. Going to start sending his Ghosts up there to deal with it. But big army down south as well. Marine Viking, the mass Changeling coming in. Like I said, where's the libs, guys? A single range lib is the easiest way to deal with this stuff. I talked to him months before this game. The first time we saw Rogue doing this style, I asked him about it. And Clem said, oh yeah, I think you just deal with it. Because he lost one game to it initially. And he was like, yeah, you just use like range libs and just have a range lib in your main. And it's really hard for them to deal with that because they can't really bring much anti-air through the Nidus. Popping Hydras out is awkward. Tanks do get abducted. Lovely move. And Rogue really harassing him quite well. If he could get Lurkers there, that'd be nice. Of course, units lost time still 7,000 in favor. Now, the big problem that I've criticized Rogue with a lot with this style is the whole point is you've got your opponent turtled up. You should have been mining these forward bases out this whole time. Your opponent is stuck just trying to survive the Nidus Lurker. So it's a very basic strategic point, which he has always lacked with this style. There's a lot of styles where the game tempo is so high, I understand you're not mining corners. With this style, he is purposefully slowing the game down to a glacial pace and basically just being inefficient to take map control and keep the pressure on the Terran. It's crazy that he doesn't move workers to the corner bases. It is a very basic oversight, and you guys know I ranted about it for many years. before Serral, Raynor, a bunch of the top Zergs started doing this in Turtle games. It's just one of those things where it's easy to forget, but if you're an expert on this style, it's so important. Now, popping Lurkers out here would be a bad idea. Luckily, Rogue realizes and instead says, you know what, that's distracting you. I'm just going to run down here. Bunch of Hydraling, going to deny this base, I believe. Marine Ghost tries to move down. It's a lot of Banelings, though. And that Marine Ghost army, very fragile. No siege tanks down here. No libs. Nothing to really anchor this. Oh, he does the Nidus Worm in the minimum firing range of the tank. Rogue with a sick move here. Dude, that's so sick. Oh, he doesn't have an Overseer, though. No Overseer. Which means Cloak Ghosts are a very big problem. The splash damage attacking the buildings sometimes does hit the ghosts as well, of course, but he can't see them right now. That's why you got to bring Overseers. Massling Bane rolls in the south side. Whoa, he's going to blow the base up, though. Clem pulled his whole army to deal with it. It just gets wrecked. What the hell? Just like that. Sorry, I'm going to rewind. He's maxed out. Yes, he's losing a few SCVs, but he's got 8 orbitals. He's got the Iron Bank. He's got 8 siege tanks. But he's got tanks stuck up here. He's got so many units in his main. Oh, this is a disaster. The fact that he had this much supply up here and let this Nidus pop. Oh my gosh, yeah. He didn't have any tanks on this south side. And he's trying to take this space with nothing down here. Oh, he got wrecked. Huge mistake letting this Nidus up. This Nidus just destroyed him. And it does kill a fair amount of units. These ghosts kind of go through the choke point. Even when Rogue can't see them, if he can just see one unit, the splash damage is still killing a lot of ghosts. The whole army tries to like F2 up here. He should have just given up the infrastructure and he just leaves this base completely wide open. Oh, huge mistake for Clem. Massive mistake. Rogue just patiently works it. Finally gets a Nidus up. And it's such a frustrating star to play against. I gotta wonder, Clem. You told me libs are the answer. I gotta feel if you had some libs, this would have been a much harder game for Rogue. But Rogue takes the 2-0 lead very nicely. All right, guys. Clem down 0-2. Going to Persephone. What is going on, mate? Getting mauled. You know what's so funny in that last game? Rogue literally just did the classic, I'm not gonna fight you. He's like, oh, you're 8-raxing? You can take my 4th. If you want to push much deeper on creep, I'll fight you. And Clem's like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go around the other side of the map. And he did deny a few bases, but I think he threw away too many Marines. Trying to siege that base, I think maybe if Clem just kept sieging closer, he could have forced a bigger fight. Problem was, if he sieged any closer, those tanks were going to get abducted. And it would have been just gift wrapping siege tank abducts to the Zerg, which is very dangerous. So, you know, it made sense that Clem went late game. A bit late on the lib transition, one could argue, but, you know, he invested a lot in his 8 racks. He was only at 8 orbitals, not like 10, 12, 13. It's hard to, like, to do that just right. If that Nidus doesn't come up on the natural, I think he's kind of okay, but, like, it was weird to see him leave so many siege tanks in the main and the natural defending. I feel like those tanks should have been on the front, on that south side, with the planetary. If there's 3 tanks with a planetary, that's, like, actually very hard to make the commitment into that. You can do it if the rest of the army's not there, but if you got like the Marines there as well to gun down the Zerglings at the front, like that's a very hard thing to push into, and you can just send some ghosts to go deal with stuff. But Clem needed to be a bit more patient, panicked a little bit, and Rogue finds himself 2 games ahead in a best of 5. Not something we expected. Now, as I've said, if Clem can make the game messy, I don't really see Rogue's ability to keep pace with him. Once again, if we go back to the, you know, theoretical coaching corner, I'd be like, dude, don't play 3cc. Go for like a gas first, really fast Hellions and a lib. Dive them in. I just want you to be interacting with Rogue at all stages. I just be like, dude, just keep microing. You are so much faster than just about everybody. Like, mess the game up a bit, because right now the early game is so clean for Rogue. And he's taking away, it's not like he's getting ahead off the openings, but it feels like Clem so often overwhelms people in the early and mid game and gets these leads that snowball. He's not getting any of that. Like, Rogue's really taking away some of Clem's best weapons. So we'll see what Clem does this game. It looks like he's once again doing 3 command center, but yeah, I would have loved that, like, second gas, quicker starport, earlier Hellion production. Would have delayed his 3rd a lot. Would have meant he would have needed to do more damage, but I just think the messier the game gets, the more that will favor Clem. And Persephone's a rather big map. Could play Battle Mech here. That's also kind of scary, though. Rogue, one of the OGs at showing how to absolutely wreck mech. Yeah, he's making Clem think rather than just micro. That is how you beat Clem, guys. Clem's a classic Terran player. No brain, all brawn, right, guys? Of course, Clem's very smart. The funny thing is, like, it's one of those things where when someone's as fast and good at micro and just clicking and getting in their opponent's face and rotating their army, it almost disguises how intelligent a lot of their tactics are. Like, the pattern recognition is definitely the most impressive thing Clem has in terms of, like, when to fight, when to run, when to rotate. It's his ability to just, at such lightning speed, choose where and how to use his units while seamlessly macroing behind it is so well done. Oh, Rogue's gonna all in. Rogue's like, okay, I'm up 2-0. I can throw a game away on a massive gamble. And especially, dude, if he goes, oh, no tech lab. No tech lab. If he doesn't go Banshee, if he goes Hellion or Lib, Viking or Lib, I think he just forgot the tech lab. But yeah, if he doesn't have Banshees, this could be so good for Rogue. Ravagerling, it's quite bad against double cloaked Banshee. Against other builds, it's got a lot of viability. 2-on-1, it's also hard to get in. He's going to sneak the Lings across for a run by. 40 drone, 2 gas. And he's got a lot of supply free. Roach Warren's done. 7 roaches begin production. Wouldn't be surprised for him to go up to 2 more. Yeah, 9 roaches. Oh, those queens trying to defend. 2 Reapers and 4 Hellions trying to find damage. Rogue's queen's taking a fair bit, but look at that! Clem commits to aggression and leaves himself open. The Lings getting on top. Oh, this is good damage. And it's a great distraction as well. He's going to try and keep attacking at the front because Clem's actually a crazy person. He wants to defend with just SCVs and Hellions. And he's going to actually do okay. And then he cleans it up, but he needs more damage on the front. He's trying to get through these queens. One of the queens very damaged. But the roaches, they're sneaking out the left side. He hasn't seen it. Clem has no idea. He has no idea. Rogue holding the line. This is all of his queens. He doesn't even have any injecting queens behind this, guys. All 4 queens are on the front line, giving off the idea that he's got 7 queens, which he does not have. His first Banshee's out, second one's on the way, but he still hasn't seen these roaches. Look at that, the Overlords. Wait, he pulls back the roaches, waits for the Hellions to leave. Healing Shrine used for Clem. Clem is thinking about healing shrines. He sees Zerglings running out. This is a huge tell. This is a huge tell that he's about to get all in. And now he sees it only now. Oh my gosh, he just put a barracks in the wall. His wall's really vulnerable. He's got to pull up the ramp, but he's not going to get time. He doesn't get the depot up. Oh no! How often do you see a 22-year-old Frenchman struggle to get it up? That is so rare. But he can't. And now the Roachling's inside his base. Banshee getting biled on at the same time right now. Look at the Banshee on the right side. The Ravager's taking damage. The SCV's getting mauled. He comes back with the Hellions, but he's already taken so much damage. Rogue catching him off guard with that Ling run by, keeping him so distracted. Hellion Banshee trying to fight right now. The Roach Ravager taking damage. He's trying to deal with this. The Banshee in the main will eventually deal with stuff. Somehow, he's kept 30 SCVs or so alive. I'm not sure how many. 26 SCVs against 38 drones. But there's still roaches to deal with. The Hellions trying to avoid fighting the roaches so they can deal with the Zerglings. But the Lings get inside the main. These SCVs in trouble. Hellions still trying to fight. The Hellions are so damaged. Another Hellion goes down. Banshee on the natural trying to deal with it. But the Ravager's actually healing up these roaches by morphing. And this is just crazy damage. Lings are still rallying across this map. Another bile land. That Banshee almost dead. Hellions trying to hold the choke point. They somehow are defending the avalanche of Zerglings initially, but not for long as the Hellion count crumbles. Bile tries to come down, doesn't land on anything, but there's just no protection for these SCVs, and that is a big problem. Zerglings there just doing so much damage on the follow through, and he's got Overlord speed. And is he walking queens? I think he's walking queens as well, potentially. We do see Overlord speed. We see the queens. No, they are at home right now. It's a constant stream of Lings. Rogue may need to put this one away. May need to pop it back in his pants momentarily. But he gets a Hellion. More SCVs going down in the natural. And he gets another stream into the main. The Banshees have to rotate, which means the natural's open. So the next wave can hit the natural. There's still 4 or 5 SCVs there. A bunch of SCVs go down in the main base. And that's going to be that. Clem is dead in the water. And he's moments from tapping out. A 3-0 for Rogue, a monumental effort, and I can see why everyone basically linked this to me, guys. Clem was clearly hungover, jet-lagged, and didn't sleep well the night before. He was sick, he had the flu. Bring out your excuses, Terran stands. Oh, it didn't count, it was an online tournament. No one cares. Bring out your excuses. Guys, the Maru defense crew's been using these ones for years. Guys, it's time to change your allegiance from simping for Maru to simping for Clem. Oh, he had COVID and his dinner was cold, so it made him feel bad. It's okay, guys. Now, Rogue played really good. Obviously, did Clem make mistakes? Yeah, no one ever plays a perfect StarCraft game, but Rogue just played really good, and I think he disguised this all in so well The fact that those queens didn't get overwhelmed is what I find most impressive, because I've tried to hide all-ins like this against players much worse than Clem many times, and it never works. And the reason is, those queens usually die. And then he kills a queen, and then another queen dies, and then he gets in and sees your roaches leaving the base, and he builds a bunker and pulls to the high ground. It's an easy defense. The Banshees intercept the roaches out front, pick off all the Ravagers. You just can't get anything done. But the fact that he pulled all 4 of his queens to the front, they're the only 4 queens he has, realized he needed to just stop injecting here and just basically keep the Hellions, because if they see these units coming out, if they see the complete lack of drones on this third base, only 2 drones there, then obviously the jig's up. It's not going to work. It's a long rush distance across this map. But the Lings to set it up, followed by the queens holding the line. These ladies covered for this push so well. And I loved as well, like this move. He sees the Hellions, and he's like, oh, wait, pull the roach back, don't show those. And then he goes, you know, just really paying attention to disguising this to the last possible second. Excellent play by Rogue, and he gets a 3-0. GG, well played.